You are welcome to Life Skills Computer Training and Consulting Limited. This is the first topic in the course titled Learning HTML, CSS, PHP and MySQL. As you know that this is one of the courses that we offer on our e-learning portal. Please, the student taking this course, I would like you to take this introduction very serious, as it is going to give you a thorough background, a good background in learning HTML, CSS, PHP and MySQL. So this video is titled Introduction to Website Design and Development. Now, what is a website? A website is a combination of different contents. You want to develop a website, and the 4 technologies mentioned in the title of this course, which is HTML, CSS, PHP and MySQL. They are the things you will learn to be able to develop a website. But what is a website? It is a combination of different content. And maybe you have heard it somewhere that website is all about content. If you want to develop a website, the first thing that will come to your mind is the content you want to deliver. There will be something you want to offer your audience. There is something you want to pass across to people. There is an information you want them to see. There is an application you want them to use. There is something you want them to upload or download. A website is all about content. So therefore, a website is a combination of different content. The content can be images, text, videos, animation. And what do you do with this content? You save them on a computer or you host them. Let me use the word save for a beginner, but in the technical term, it means you are going to host it on a computer. Now, when you are developing a website, I want to tell you that your website will be inside a folder, and all the content, all the images you want to show, all the text you are typing, the video you want to show, the animation, they will all be stored inside that folder, and on your computer they will be there, but they are not accessible to people outside. But your website can be viewed anywhere in the world when you're able to connect your website to the internet. So the internet is the person in between you and the people that are waiting to see your website. The procedure for hosting your website, I will explain them in this video. Now, a website consists of one or more pages called web pages that are linked together. In Microsoft Word, you type a document consists of one or more pages. In Microsoft Excel, you work on a workbook, and a workbook consists of 2 or more sheets. In PowerPoint, you are dealing with presentation, and a presentation consists of 2 or more slides. But a website consists of 1 or more pages, which is referred to as a web page. And the difference here is that in a website, you find means of linking your web pages together. Now, the computer on which the website is stored or hosted, we call it web server. And for your website to be made available to the people outside, you need to host it on a server. The server can be in Nigeria, it can be in India, it can be in US, it can be in any part of this world. Now, like I said, in later videos, I'm going to explain the procedure for hosting your site after you have developed it. But for now, let's continue with what is a website. Now, I want to talk about the purpose of a website. A website can be for advertising a product. You have heard about many online marketing websites. A very good example is Jumia.com. kunga.com, gg.ng, and so on and so forth. They advertise products, their websites, and a website can be for advertising your business or your school. You want people to know about your business, or you are designing a site for a school. You can even develop a school portal where they can sell forms, where admission will take place, where they can pay, where they can register courses, and even a website can be for lecture delivery. Like the portal on which you are taking this course presently is a site, but it's an e-learning portal. And a website can just be for making information available for the public. Most sites like that, we call them static websites. Like most of the government websites, they just put information there for people to see. And not only that, a website can be a shopping cart where you buy a product and your product will be delivered to you. Or it can be a social network like Facebook, where you want people to chat, you want them to exchange messages, you want them to make video call. A website can be a search engine. A very good example is Google. And I want to tell you that search engine called Google is a powerful one, and it looks like a scanty page with just a box for typing whatever you want to type. But it's a site that has been programmed to search information and display it on the page. So a website can be for these purposes, and you have to determine why are you developing a website. Why do you want to learn PHP, MySQL, CSS, and so on? Now, let's look at the meaning of a server and a client. The computer on which your website is stored, or hosted, we call it web server. Now, let's say I'm developing my site. I'm using my laptop, and all the content of my site, the video, the text, the programming code, I store them in a folder. But my site doesn't go beyond my laptop. I have to host it. And you are going to connect to hosting services online. A very good example is bluehost.com or godaddy.com or namecheap.com. If you visit any of these hosting companies, they will give you login details. You pay, you buy hosting account, and you upload your folder that contains your site to their server online. And once you do that, your website will be made available. And most of these hosting companies can also sell domain name. Now, the intricacies or the technicalities involved, I'm going to explain them in a later video, how to do hosting. But the point here is, your website has to be stored, it has to be hosted on a computer called web server. And a web server must be connected to the internet 24 hours. If it is disconnected, that is where you have a page not found or server is down. But most of the hosting companies, they run their server 24 hours. They are always connected to internet. A user visits or accesses a website by using a computer, and that computer we call it client. Now, looking at this diagram, you have a client, you have internet, you have web server, which can be in Nigeria or USA. Now, what is the meaning of this? When you develop your site, you host it in Nigeria or in US. That means you store it on a server, on a computer somewhere in any part of the world. Now, and your site is tied to a name, which is called domain name. For example, www.ajewaleonline.com. And you give your address, that domain name or web address, you give it to people, and they begin to type the address in their browser. So the computer on which they are typing your address, in order to see the content of your site, we call it client computer. But the computer where the site is residing, where it is located, is what we call web server. But the technology in between is what we refer to as internet. So immediately you type, you remember the client computer is also connected to internet, the web server is also connected to internet. So immediately the person at the other end, which is called client, immediately is typing the address of the site in a browser, and that computer on which it is typing the address is connected to internet. The internet will look for the content that is tied to the web address and display it on the client computer. So that is a simple explanation about server and client.